So, a bit of advice before you set off on your journey. I think you should be able to pitch your business in any format, from 3 sentences to 3 hours. Now, I don't expect you to do it for 3 hours with no notes or PowerPoint, but important in the networking sense that I think in 3 sentences you could talk. You could give me an idea of what your business does and why it's an important business. So it's, what's the problem in the market? What's your product do? Sort of, what does it sell for? Probably not even talking to me about how much money you need. So I would advise you to be able to do that. I think you have to be able to come along and talk about your business on a 3-hour session. So you met me at a networking event like today. I thought, well, this is marvellous. I said, come and see us next week. And you couldn't come along and answer all the detailed questions about your business that we would want to know in maybe a first and second meeting. Again, you've blown an opportunity with an investor. So you can go and say, well, Mike, I'm interested in finding myself a chairman. Have you got any advice? That's great, because you can go, well, once you start to actually ask for investment, that's the point where you need to be able to talk about things in detail, which is why it's so important, the bottom point, to have the business plan in place so you can answer all those detailed questions, give detailed financial. So if I came to you guys and said, what's your sales in year 3? If you can't answer those sorts of questions when you've got a face-to-face meeting with 2 or 3 people from a fund or whatever, then you will blow another opportunity. The investors will very rarely invite you back for a second go. If you go and meet them, they don't like you for whatever reason, then I'm afraid you don't get a second chance in this game. And then you need to be able to understand the key facts about what makes you different. It might not necessarily be that you've got a wonderful suite of patents. It might be a wonderful management team who've built businesses before and exited them. You might have this huge new market opportunity. Again, if I don't understand what your product or service does in its unique selling points, I'll probably struggle to want to know why I should invest in you. And also how the money turns, how you make money from your customers is an important thing. Or whether, if you are a social network, how you're going to build your user base to build it up to be something of value to sell. So a few thoughts before you start out on the journey. And just remember, at the end of the day, investment is a huge matter of personal taste. Whether I like something and Synergy likes something will be different to Rose and Pembridge. And just because somebody says, no, I don't like your business and want to invest in it, doesn't mean that just down the road tomorrow morning you'll meet somebody who does. And this applies in business angels just as well as investors, funds, etc. In fact, in business angels, private individuals, probably more so than actually funds. It does take a long time. I was going to ask Tom how long it took to find your initial 500k from beginning to end when you seriously started.
Well, I mean, I think I got the first commitment from the lead investor probably in September of 2009, but in terms of then closing with everything else, that didn't close until March.
Yeah. So 6 months.
Yeah, and that's with somebody saying tick the box done.
Yeah.
So getting it all done together.
That's not an unusual length of time. So you have to be prepared for a long journey, and you have to be able to dedicate time to the investment process, as well as continuing to run your business. Because during that process, people look and they see sales going down, or you're not meeting the objectives you said that you told them about at the first meeting, then they will begin to lose interest in you. We did a deal on a company which actually took 9 months from beginning to end. There were all sorts of problems, and every time we wondered why we should bother to do the deal, the sales figures for the company came in and they went up. So this sort of, why are we bothering with another meeting? And you thought, I know why, because the sales are going up. So they were managing their business through the process, and therefore we were inclined to invest, even though it was taking a lot of time. I would say of the whole process, the hardest part is finding your investor, the networking, etc. Once you've got somebody who's interested, life is much easier because you're talking to somebody who's interested in putting money into your company. It is a long journey, but there is definitely money out there at the moment. It might not come from the traditional sources, but if you work hard, you network hard, there's definitely money out there, and there are funds with money, and more importantly, there are individuals with money to put in big rounds together.
Just say
Yeah.
one more thing. I mean, one thing I didn't mention earlier is, like, don't restrict your scope just to the UK, or don't
No.
think about who are the people who invest in your sector and the things that you're doing, and go out to find them. They might be in San Francisco, they might be in New York, they might be in Israel. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I got a call on Wednesday saying, can you be in Israel tomorrow? So, and then in the end I flew out 2 days later, but so, be prepared to go somewhere else. And it was, again, that type of thing that you mentioned about, don't know your business plan, don't know any numbers, you're flying out to a meeting, you can't handle that meeting, you've blown a big opportunity.
Yeah, there's some wonderful stories out there about people raising money. Just a little story about a company called City Socializing, who Pro-Founders invested £1 million, and Rogan from Pro-Founders will be here after lunch. But prior to that, they raised an angel round. They picked up some money from London Business Angels, having done a presentation. They then went off to present at a European event in Nice, and they picked up 2 Scandinavian investors at that event. They put those together with the guys that they picked up from London Business Angels, and they got their initial round of, I think it was 230, 240 odd K. So back to Tom's point, just network, and go where the money takes you. So that was all I was going to say.